live streaming from the floor of the New York Summit. We just listened to a bunch of exciting announcements in the keynote from Adrian and Matt Wood and a number of customers. Do you guys want to talk about some of this? What was your favorite announcement, Tara?
I'm kind of biased, so I've been working on Macy and CloudTrail all weekend for the blog, so I am a little biased. So Macy was really excited to me because I got to delve into it. What about you?
Well, what I actually like is kind of the focus on compliance. What I really like is having things that are enabled by default for people. So I love seeing CloudTrail get turned on by default for everyone. 7 days, and it's just on.
Yeah.
So it's just another thing. You don't have to worry about configuration. You don't have to worry about setting it up. It just kind of works out of the box.
Yep.
Ian?
I really like the AWS Glue announcement. I think that's a really interesting service. It's continuing this idea of moving away from per hour billing, because obviously it's a service that's charged by the minute. And also taking a look at the blog post that the team have been working on. I think it's really cool that you can export the transformation scripts out of that tool and either use them in Glue or use them in other data transformation services that you might want to run. I think that's pretty cool as well. I think it'll play a big role in the pipeline for customers that want to clean up data and move it in for AI and ML services as well. So I think that's a pretty interesting launch.
Wasn't it interesting that Cloud HSM got a totally revamp, rewrite? We're going to just really make this something
simpler,
great.
A lot simpler,
and pay as you go. And there's so many HSM improvements. I think that customers will be really happy to delve back into that service.
Yeah, sometimes I think that the improvements are almost as exciting as the actual service launches, because you're taking something that people are already using or want to use and just making it easier and making it like less work on the user side to make it actually happen. So like Cloud HSM improvements or like CloudTrail or Glue, they're already running ETL jobs on AWS, so why not make it easier for us to kind of export that data for them?
No. Yeah, I like the way Adrian just kind of quietly announced 3 big improvements at the end there.
Like he was real
EFS
casual.
encryption, the Cloud HSM improvements, and also switching on CloudTrail for customers. Those are actually quite important launches, and I think will make things a lot simpler for customers.
What's cool too about it is they didn't remove anything with CloudTrail that you could do before. Like you still can build a trail and do all the details, but when you go into it, every customer now has event history for those 7 days on by default, and they're raring to go. So that was a good one. Now, of course, I'm really excited about the Macy because of AI stuff, right? You know I'm digging that. So I thought that was really cool that we're using really cutting edge machine learning algorithms to classify data, because let's be clear, I mean, that's not an easy task. So the fact that we are making it easier for customers to come up with literally data classification solutions and protection and security there is really phenomenal.
And what I think is awesome is that that could save a ton of people have they've gotten legacy systems, and then there's something the person before them left a port open, or they started it as a little weekend project, and just letting people know about those or making it easier to find things even if you're not a security expert, I think it's huge. It's just it's a happiness thing.
Yeah.
No one wants to have to deal with a big security problem. So let's just let you know.
Yeah.
And even if you're not the best security expert in the world, at least you haven't left your ports open.
Right. You know what you don't know, right? Yeah.
A small blessing.
Or you haven't put your credentials for everyone to see in a text file and just happen to be out there.
And I like to see the happiness things with here's something that you can get a huge amount of happiness and value out of just getting a notification being hey man, did you know
you're doing something wrong?
Do that.
Here's a little heads up, and because especially for people that are starting out, maybe they don't know, or they started this at a hackathon and then they decided that they wanted to use it for their actual infrastructure, and just alerting people, just being actually this is a better idea, it's huge.
Let me tell you my favorite part of it, and I think because it was just amazing they did this, was the fact that when people log in or you have an API call or anything that goes on with that, for your data that you stored in S3, it actually tells you exactly where it was. So this was in Belgium, this was done by this person. So immediately you can build queries to say, wait a minute, these people shouldn't be
in Belgium.
Right, hold on,
exactly
and you're not supposed to be there, so what's going on?
Yeah, that was an early feature that came with some of the visualization tools from partners that enable you to visualize data from CloudTrail, things like geomaps to show you where in the world your API traffic was originating from. I thought that was a pretty cool feature.
I think that's so cool. Like, you're here, you shouldn't be there. Yep. Warning, danger, Will Robinson, right?
I worked in DevOps before this, so like maybe I'm biased, but I just love everything audit based. Like, I love knowing where everyone's coming from. I love knowing what they did. I like knowing how long they were there. I love getting notifications about it, because like that's kind of the stuff, or like you don't think about it until you really need it.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that it's like insurance. That like I never knew that I needed to know that I get 6 requests every 2 weeks from like some random IP address until you really need to know that, and then you're like, well, I have 10 terabytes,
right?
Or I have 10 terabytes of unstructured logs in S3, and now I need information from them really quickly.
Yep.
And then, like,
and everything, like to your point, everything that you can query immediately can become alert, right?
Yeah.
I queried this. I want to know, hey, I've learned this lesson. Save this as a query, and it's a notification. I'll know immediately, right? Yeah.
The best thing about like CloudWatch, CloudTrail is being able to, like, getting the data there is cool, but being able to do stuff with that data is even cooler. So being able to run jobs on it, being able to alert on it, being able to query it, like graph it, like the unstructured data is like, yay, but like the result of doing stuff with that data is
phenomenal, right? Yeah, and of course there's Lambda, so I can trigger other actions, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I got the data, event happened,
Yeah.
do something. Shut everyone down. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think of that last customer reference in there from ZocDoc, the healthcare ML and AI provider? It reminded me of a customer we had in Stockholm earlier this year called Cry. They do GP, or like doctor's appointments via the phone. This was a little bit different. They said they were using ML to try and make it easier for people to find the right healthcare provider.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a pretty cool.
So I've used ZocDoc.
Have you really?
It's actually, so it's been in New York for like a while, and
New Yorkers. I
love that it's the thing. A lot of, I think it's because it's so dense here that a lot of people will test out stuff like that. It's really cool, and I like the trend in general of learning from what other people are doing. That like, if I live in the financial district and I'm looking for a dermatologist, then like this person's pretty popular. Like, and I love that, because like maybe I just moved here, like maybe Ian's visiting from London, so like what if he goes to look for a doctor and it's not like a let me trawl through pages of this to find a good one. Like, I love learning from, I like that we can use all this data that we have about what people like, what they buy, what doctors they go to, how they drive, what stop signs they take, what route they take to work. I love that we can take all that data and we can learn from what people are doing and then make that experience even better for someone else.
What's interesting to me about that customer is most people, if you think about it, you go on recommendations, right?
It's a person recommendation thing.
Yeah, so hey, I need this doctor, I need it. Who did you go to? That's how most people literally pick doctors, versus, because no one wants to scroll through,
and
right?
what happens when I don't have a person?
It takes out of your own personal network of individuals that you know onto like the greater population of people that are using the service. I think it's like Amazon.com shopping recommendations. In healthcare.
And it's like, well, what if I've never looked for them, or I don't have anyone in my network that's done that, but now you have the whole internet as your network.
Right, exactly.
And it's the same kind of like, it's like scalable, it's like
I
scaling
really like
people.
services like that. Yeah. But of course they didn't used to be that easy to build, did they?
Right. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
What about the Migration Hub?
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting service. I'm going to be interviewing some members of the team responsible for creating that service a little bit later on in the schedule. And I've been exchanging a couple of emails with them to prep the Q&A that we're going to do later. I think it's an interesting service because it pulls together other services that already exist within AWS. We've got DMS, we've got the server migration service, and trying to wrap that up again to make the experience simpler for customers that want to use those things in an integrated way. I think it's just a really, really good win for customers that have got these more complex environments. And I think working in developer relations at AWS, I wouldn't say it's possible to be myopic, but it's possible to fall into a trap of believing that everybody's always building new things. And actually a lot of developers are not doing that. A lot of developers are maintaining code that is written by other people, maybe people that were in organizations a long time before they arrived, and if you can bring forward tools that simplify the process of understanding what's there and make it easier to migrate that in a structured manner, I think that's a big win.
And then you get to play with the new stuff, right?
Of course you do. It reduces the amount of time that you have to spend doing some of these activities that might be less valuable, actually, frankly, less interesting, and spend more time on building new products.
I think in general we talk a lot about greenfield, and that just because it's easier, right? Like it's easier to write a blog post about how I like I started with ECS in a weekend, or I built my side project with Lambda in a weekend, and that's really easy, and it makes
simple
for like
if you don't have 20, 30 years of evolved complexity.
right,
Right?
exactly.
And it makes for
someone
a
else's
glamorous
code.
post, but like what happens when you're one of like so many companies that they've been around long enough, or it didn't work for them when they first started, and that's a huge part of people.
And I'm maintaining someone else's code, right? That's always the hardest thing.
Two of the examples in the keynote, FICO and Hulu, they were both big migration examples of customers that had been running really complex and substantial apps and then decided to move them onto AWS. So there's obviously a lot of opportunities to improve things for customers by using tools like this.
Yeah.
And learning from the customers that have gone through this, how we can make it even better, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else about ML you want to talk about? I thought that was really the replatforming, applying ML to search to find the healthcare problems back in the healthcare, because I'm really into that, right?
Oh, and the cars.
And I
feel like Ian pulled up this self-driving car gif, and I'm like,
I have a confession. I was in Beijing a few weeks ago for the AWS summit in China, and they were a local customer in China. That's where Too Simple, who are the technology provider there that were being talked about, are headquartered. They're based, I think, in Shanghai, so they're in China. And it's actually an evangelist in the team in China that showed me that. It's called planar detection, where they can pick out of the 2D image, they can pick out a 3D planar surface, which is the road surface, in real time from video, and they can use that to navigate a vehicle around obstacles that might be on the road. And it's not just things that have been on the road. Say something fell onto the road, the planar surface detection would pick that up immediately, and the vehicle would be able to move around it. So it's really sophisticated image processing in 3D. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I was really surprised when you first pulled up the GIF of the cars driving. I was like, they go that fast? I feel like I turned around for like a hot minute, and like I don't really drive, and I was like, the robot can drive a car so fast.
And see, I'm from Atlanta. Everyone drives, so this will be taken either good or bad. It depends on how it goes. Did you try it where you were there?
No, but I saw those videos that were used in the keynote today with the planar detection, and also the bounding box based detection for cars and people in real time as well.
It looks like bumper cars, so like with real cars, and it's just like you can watch it ping off the sides of the blue boxes, and you're like, it's so cool.
They provide an OEM image processing solution for other smart vehicle manufacturers. Nice. That's what their product is.
Setting the standard for the rest of the world.
If you didn't see the keynote, watch the on-demand video on YouTube and take a look at the end of the keynote where Matt Wood's talking about AI use cases, and he has their demos up. They're actually really impressive, I think.
See, next time you got to try it.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be next time I want to do an actual in a car live demo. So we have a question actually from Twitch. So from DJH World, it says, additionally, will there be some unification of the Glue data catalog with Athena? The short answer is yes. And then we have a follow-up question from Onyx Raven on, will Hive on EMR or elsewhere be able to use Glue as a metadata store? And the short answer on that one is, I don't quite know, but the development endpoints will let you talk to Glue for your VPC. Keep the questions coming. We're happy to answer them as they come up. Even if we're not talking about the service still that you have a question about, that is totally fine. Send them to us on Twitch chat, or you can tweet one of us.
Yeah. Should we talk quickly about the schedule for the rest of the day? Because we've got a lot of other content coming up in the course of the day. So these times are all in Eastern on the US East Coast, so add 5 hours for the UK, or take away 3 hours for Seattle and San Francisco, right? So we've got Tara's going to be back at 12:05 talking about serverless on AWS with one of the developer advocates from the serverless team here. And then Abby's going to be back at 12:40 taking an in-depth look at some of the improvements we announced to Cloud HSM today, together with some of the service team members that are responsible for building that product. And then I'll be back at 13:05 talking about enhancements to CloudFormation that have been made over the course of the last few months. So those are the next three pieces of content that we've got for you today on the live stream.
Yeah, I'm really excited, by the way, that we're doing this. Like the talking to the actual teams about the product, because like I think you get like the view from the sky overview, I think, during the keynote, and then we talk about it a little bit. But like, unless you've managed to read all the blog posts by now, like you don't often get a chance to like just talk with members of the service teams. So I think it's really I think it's really cool that some of them have been able to join us.
What I really like about that is the fact that you can understand a little bit more about the upstream product creation process.
Yeah.
So what exactly was the feedback that we were getting? What exactly are the problems that we're trying to help customers solve?
Yeah.
And then how have we prioritized the features that we built in the first release? I think that's one of the best things about talking to people that are involved in engineering products anywhere, but especially at AWS and Amazon.
It's a different perspective than just, hey, we hear customers talk about what they're trying to do. It's also all about what customers need us to do to innovate or help them innovate.
It's like a piece. It's like a piece of the process that people don't always hear about, because they know that they give us feedback, and then they know that something happens, and then they know that something gets released because they hear the announcement. So they're in the feedback, and then they're in the announcement part. But like, what you don't get a lot of is like the upstream stuff. So so we took this piece, and then these other people said this, and here's what we ended up with, and like here's what we ended up building.
Or the industry was having this issue, right?
Here's the problem we were solving.
Right, and we could solve this by just combining some of the knowledge we have about various technologies. So that's pretty phenomenal. Any more questions out there in Twitch land? We are open to talk to you guys.
I have a couple more. So we have from Randall, who's on the sidelines for this one. Randall wants to clarify at Onyx Raven, not Raisin. I'm hungry. That we do already integrate with Athena. It's already true. We have another question from Eric Hammond, which is, can Glue write to Parquet format? I believe the answer is yes. I have no further information for you, but the answer is yes. So
affirmative, at least.
Affirmative. If I learned anything else about that, I'll let you know. And I think that's the last I see from the questions. If you do have a question, by the way, there'll be another recap, I think, at the end of the day. There'll be evangelists streaming all day with service teams and without them. So if you have a question and we didn't get to it, or if you haven't let us know yet, we'll be answering questions all day.
And go out, if you really missed some of the launches, read the blog post. They've done a great job. I'm going to take myself out of it. They have done a great job of really working with the product groups to make sure you can understand the new launches and how you can use them. So check out the main AWS blog if you missed any details or you want to see how it works.
Yeah, one of the good things about the blog, of course, is from there you can find other resources like documentation, links to demos, and links to the service detail pages as well. So if you visit the blog post, it's a good place to enter and find more information about some of these new services as well.
Yeah. Cut your teeth on the new stuff.
I think that's it for questions, I think, from the audience for now. And then one last message from Onyx Raven. Fun to see new announcements at the summit. It gets me excited about reInvent. It's going to be intense. That is very true. Truer words have never been spoken. It is definitely intense. I'm starting to wish that maybe I had a helicopter to go back and forth between like the MGM Grand and the
get one of those self-driving cars to zip us around.
That's the best. If anyone's listening and they have a self-driving car, hook a sister up. Because that seems like it would be the best beta testing ever, is to driving my self-driving car just down the strip.
I'm a little concerned because you just said you don't drive, and we're going to let you drive down the strip.
But technically, the robot drives.
Yeah, we need the robot to drive. I'm feeling some kind of way about you driving and not driving.
So yes. So the short answer, Onyx Raven, we are excited too. It will be really intense. I love reInvent. It's like tech Christmas.
That's one way to put it up.
it's like nonstop cool stuff, but fun for everyone.
I agree.
I don't think Christmas makes my feet hurt as much as reInvent does.
Or make me as tired and not sleeping.
Yeah.
Also true.
There's a lot of walking in that week.
A lot of work that goes into it. But afterwards, it's pretty phenomenal. And then what's great about it, if you couldn't indulge in all of reInvent, because reInvent is so massive, you get to watch it afterwards, right on the YouTube videos. There's certain sessions you had to decide against. So reInvent is coming up, guys. It's pretty phenomenal, even though it's hard work for us. Yeah.
Okay, should we wrap this up then on the keynote? Anything else you want to cover?
I think we're good. Thanks for joining us. And next up will be Tara at
12:05. So join us in 25 minutes for that.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
Benjamins, keep it so girl fresh. Grills, I'm in cut, flossing in the Corvette. Better cook correct.